Just a couple bad weather fans representing New York, talking all things sports. Man, what could go wrong? We got Alex, who's a fan of the Knicks, and Mike of the Nets. The yin-yang of the tri-state, place your bets on the Yankees, Giants, Mets, or Jets. Yeah, you should listen if they're sparking your interest. If you made a vow to your team, don't break it. Bad weather fans is the relation.
That's right. This is Bad Weather Fans, episode number 135. Mike Biseglia, Alex Benezowitz, no Alex B in the squares if you're watching this on YouTube. Just me solo right now. I will have a co-host join me in a matter of moments, Poppa Left, who is awesome with Knicks Spaces. But no Alex B. He went to Greece. He left me alone for a week. I'm in Bloomfield, New Jersey. Some people are telling me that Bloomfield, New Jersey is the Greece of... No, Greece is probably nicer than Bloomfield, New Jersey, although I will say I love where I live. It's really fun. But Alex will be back next week. I hope you're having an amazing time on your trip. Poppa Left will join Bad Weather Fans. He'll co-host with me. I think everybody will really enjoy this. Of course, if you listen to this podcast, you probably know him. If you're a Knicks fan, if you're a Net fan, maybe you do. Besides talking Knicks and RJ Barrett's Media Day experience, we'll also talk a little bit about the Net Nick thing that's been going on over the last couple of years. I am excited to announce, and have been telling people for the last couple of weeks, how DraftKings is with Bad Weather Fans, and it's a big part of our DNA, of course. NFL weekend number one, Jets look like dog poo, and the New York Football Giants somehow came back and defeated the Tennessee Titans. The NFL opening week was action-packed, and it's just getting started. Get ready for week 2 of touchdowns, big plays, and even bigger wins with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. This week, new customers can bet just $5 on any football game and get $200 in free bets instantly. Man, that first week of football, it was just so good to see it. It was just so good to see it back, get in DraftKings, watching football on a Sunday. It just felt right. Want more action? Everyone can experience the thrill of DraftKings early win promotion. It's simple. This Sunday, bet on any NFL team to win. If your team leads by 10 at any point during the game, you get paid instantly, even if your team loses. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code BWF to get $200 in free bets instantly when you place a $5 bet on any football game. That's code BWF. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Minimum wage and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. And if Alex was here right now, he'd have some sort of rant about the Jets and Joe Flacco. He can't move. This Jets team has no pulse. They're nothing until they get their quarterback back. And I'd agree with all of it. Meanwhile, the New York Giants somehow grow a huge sack and just come in to Tennessee, trailing 13-0, come back. And it's safe to say that their new head coach, Brian Daboll, has won over the fan base instantly. 2 things he did. 1, he told Daniel Jones on the sidelines, wake the fuck up. I think that connected with Giant fans really well. And, of course, going for 2, the wonderful play by Saquon Barkley, who was a beast and put together maybe his best game as a New York Giant. And the football team now is 1-0, and the Jets are 0-1. Also, special thanks to Dolan J. Trump. He sponsors this podcast. Check out his merch. You may have seen his amazing hats, Make Knicks Great Again. And, of course, all the awesome T-shirts that he has, not just for Knicks fans, Mets, Jets, Yankees as well. No Nets, I guess, because he really hates the Nets. But check out his promo code, BWF, link in the notes there. You can get a nice discount on some of his merch. So check it on out. All of that in the show notes. Poppa Left. He is one of those people on Knicks Twitter that I love to hate. He is an incredible follow. He is awesome content creator. I know Alex, not a fan of the content creator word. Alex isn't here, and I have this urge to like pretend like he's here debating him. Like, oh, no one cares about the Nets, Mike. Oh, Kevin Durant. Oh, let it burn. No, I know. I could do this. I could be Alex and do this podcast. I mean, this is not that tough, right, Alex? No, I'm just kidding. Poppa Left. He's part of the Toxic Boys. Their podcast starts in October. Check them out. Here's my convo with Poppa Left. All right, as promised here on Bad Weather Fans, of course, Alex is away, but the only way that I can do Bad Weather Fans is talking to Knicks content creators, Knicks podcast creators, Knicks Spaces creators that are a pain in the ass, that are annoying, that as a Nets fan typically get on my nerves. But I almost, I see that as a compliment because I know they're doing something right. So here's Poppa Left. He's a quarter of the Toxic Boys. Their podcast is coming out in October. Subscribe to their YouTube. We have a link here in our show notes. Poppa Left, thank you for joining me on Bad Weather Fans while Alex is out.
Definitely, Alex is on my wave. I just proposed to my fiance, which means she said yes. I was in Jamaica, and our guy Alex is out in Greece right now, living it up. And
your guy, I
definitely,
don't go that far.
He's of the tribe. He's my guy.
Well, yeah, you might know, but I'm Jewish as well, so yeah, I can be part of that membership because I don't want to be left out here on Bad Weather Fans. I'll take that personal right away.
Just need 7 more for a starting lineup.
How did you propose? Were you nervous?
Well, my fiance is in the other room, but I was not nervous. I knew she was going to say yes, but I had, as a creative, you have this concept of, like your own creation buyer's remorse of whether you're doing the most creative thing possible with the proposal. So like as a MC, as a rapper, the first thought in my head was to, create a song or something of that nature. And it's funny when I put it out on Instagram, my longtime engineer was like, you're showing growth because in the past you would have made a song, but you kept this under wraps, like literally and figuratively.
Right.
So
right. That's great.
Yeah. So, I wasn't nervous. And I think more than the proposal itself, it's the union that we have together it's more powerful than any, trinket or moment like that. But it was a special moment.
Definitely. Nah, that's awesome to hear. I just celebrated my 10th anniversary with my wife. We've got a baby. We've got one coming on the way. I can tell you it's the best experience. It's way better than being a Nets fan, although there's been some moments. I know it's definitely better than being a Knicks fan. But we'll start with that. I do want to get your takes on the Nets because I know you're going to piss people off, and I'm really excited to I don't know, go back and forth on that, or maybe we won't. Maybe we'll agree.
Yeah.
I personally saw the news that RJ Barrett's going to do, is the little media thing with internal affairs and nothing with the media. I think it's a joke. I heard you a little bit on Spaces today. I'm a big believer in free press, so I'm disappointed to see that media can't ask them questions, even if 9 out of 10 of them will suck. I believe it's the right of the media to ask these questions. Your thoughts when you saw another Knicks hiding away and not allowing the media in to talk about the RJ Barrett extension?
I think it's kind of silly to me. It's like on one hand, it's like, you want to punish this media for or punish the media for, asking a question. But if you're so aware of the type of questions that they're asking as a professional, it's an easy opportunity to come away with a great soundbite. Case in point with Mitchell Robinson, who's not like the most seasoned. He's on a rookie scale deal. And last year he had a crazy moment with Mark Berman, the New York Post.
Right.
And said, relax, Berman, relax. This is a 23-year-old guy from the South. He's just not the most seasoned guy in the media. And he's literally sunning a 60-year-old veteran in the media who's, it's not that hard. So on the idea that they have to coddle and protect a $100 million man in RJ Barrett, who's, by the way, totally prepared for that moment. Like, he's an all countryman basketball player, godson of Steve Nash, your boy.
Don't say that. Don't say that.
spent it was facetious. Spent 1 year in Duke with Mike Krzyzewski. Played already 3 years for a franchise that's burning in flames half the time. So if anybody can, and also he handled the media responsibilities when Julius Randle was being coddled by the organization. So right. If anybody can handle hey, RJ Barrett, how do you feel about being rumored to being traded to Utah? Well, I'm good because I'm playing for the Knicks and I'm getting $100 million to do it. So I think it's a joke. I think the Knicks fans are off base with it. I think they're trying to rally around some sense of, ESPN is LOL Knicksing, but at some point, you have to acknowledge the other point of view. And the other point of view in this case happens to be correct in my estimation. I know I might catch some flack for that, but there's no reason in my mind why any of these players can't go. If they know the question is going to be ridiculous, flip it. This, and it's not like you're going to hide the media on September 12th, and in January 12th, they're not going to be more pissed off and more venomous with their questions when things start to go south. So
it's a great point. I'll throw it back in two directions. One, if the Nets don't address anything with Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, etc., I think they should get a lot of shit themselves. Now, nobody cares about the Nets like they do the Knicks, so there won't be the media onslaught. Although this might be a little different because of the situation. But if the Nets never said anything about what happened with Kevin Durant, I think rightfully so, Net fans should be pissed off on the situation. You can't just go into training camp and saying like, what the hell just happened? And on the second front, kind of connecting it back to the RJ Barrett. Like if RJ Barrett was on Bad Weather Fans and he was coming on this podcast and I had RJ Barrett for 60 minutes and I didn't ask him one question about what had happened in the last month, people would look at Bad Weather Fans and go, Mike, Alex, why did you not ask RJ Barrett that question? It wouldn't be, oh, we got to coddle him. Oh, do the right thing. The media is against them. It would be, well, why didn't you ask the obvious questions?
Yeah,
so to me, that's the connecting piece. Like if you had RJ Barrett in front of you, you want to, oh, so what was it like at Duke for a year? Now you wouldn't ask him that.
Right. I didn't watch it. I saw on Twitter someone said that somebody asked him what his favorite food is. And maybe that's kind of relevant because he was doing a lot of door dashing. Now, hopefully he doesn't need to do that many DoorDash advertisements. Now he's worth $100 million in NBA money. But, it almost, again, like I said, Mike, the thought process is that it's to protect the Knicks player from the media. But when you really think about it, it's more so to protect RJ Barrett from expressing his truth, because there's a lot of things about RJ Barrett and this Donovan Mitchell situation where let's put it out how it is. He got finessed. He got leveraged against, and this guy was looking at 187 million. He was looking at Michael Porter Jr.'s contract, who's not worth it. And RJ Barrett has every right to play into that value in his fourth year and see if he can make it or demand it. And he falls back on $100 million. It's a great contract for the Knicks. I wouldn't say it's a great contract for RJ Barrett.
Yeah, no, I think it's team friendly. And I've expressed a lot of this with RJ Barrett. And to me, it's, you're not paying for what he's done already. You're paying for what you think he's going to become. That's what the contract's about. That's when we'll learn if this was the right deal or not. I get confused about this with the Knicks, and I'm curious what you have to say. I get confused why there's so much value for the young players at the Knicks organization. And it seems like this is the next young group that's so spectacular, but then at the same time, they're not playing. Why does that happen?
Well, you got 1 foot in the rebuild and you have 1 foot out. And I think that Knicks fans over time, I think we've kind of conflated a bunch of young prospects together, and we've conflated a bunch of front office regimes together, and we've never actually had a timeline where we've actually run through a rebuild. Like, for instance, we're also always looking at other teams around us and trying to blueprint their successes when we don't really have the infrastructure to make that happen, or we haven't hit the lottery, or we haven't, been able to acquire that free agent or acquire that number 1 pick and get that transcendent star. So right now, the Knicks in the spot that they're in, Evan Fournier could have the best season of his career. It will not help the organization. It will not help his value. It will not help the team move forward and make that next step. You need to watch Quentin Grimes fall on his face 50 times this year before I see Evan Fournier have 82 good games. I mean, that's just reality. I cannot watch Obi Toppin and Julius Randle for year 3 have minutes in 38 and 10 distribution. I cannot watch Emmanuel Quickly being coddled by Derrick Rose's veteran presence. This is a guy who's in the 3rd year of his rookie deal. It has tremendous value. Now, you asked the question why, and it ultimately comes back to the head coach. And the head coach is trying to win every game. But unfortunately, the dumbest thing that we do is that we try to rebuild while trying to win every game, lose every game, that matters, and we build in value into players that don't have value, and the players that have value, we're sitting on the bench behind these players, and then trying to go out to the NBA and say, "Hey, we want to we want to trade you these guys," and they're looking at us. You benched Emmanuel Quickly behind Alec Burks for a majority of the season. He wasn't your starting point guard. When you had the opportunity to play Quentin Grimes and Cam Reddish over Evan Fournier, you did not. When you had the opportunity to break Obi Toppin into a 20-minute role, you never did it. You actually played him behind Taj Gibson. So now you're offering me these players for Donovan Mitchell? Absolutely not. There's no reason why another team should bet on your prospective value when it had the opportunity to be objective value. So, man, the Knicks really, it's like with the Jets yesterday, where they have a 10th pick overall, where they're playing cheap. They're hoarding picks. They're playing cheap. They don't want to spend the 10th pick. They don't want to spend the cap money on a proven asset in Tyreek Hill, a guy who keeps the defensive coordinators up at night. So you go, all right, I'm going to get Garrett Wilson. Then Garrett Wilson comes into training camp, and the coaches is trying to win the game. And he says, well, I can't play this guy because I'm on the hot seat if I lose. But then you're playing Corey Davis, again, like Evan Fournier, as great as a game he can have, will never move this franchise forward. You have to hit on your draft picks. You have to play your value. And there's no better thing to do for a rebuilding team to play their value. There's no better thing to do. You should take every opportunity to do it. But the Knicks have Tom Thibodeau, and they have a little bit of a fringe fan base where as much people say play the kids, there is a casual kind of sense of like, I want to win. I want the seven to I want to win games. There's a sense of impatience.
See, that's what's interesting is because I heard a lot of people say if you trade for Donovan Mitchell, the Knicks will then be in purgatory where they'll be locked into a certain seed. And I look at it, if you trade for Donovan Mitchell, you're taking a next step to get to where you ultimately want to go, which is a championship. I think the Knicks right now are in purgatory based on everything you had just said. They're trying with win now guys. They also have young players that can't get on the floor because they want to play these win now guys. To me, that sounds like purgatory, not where you're going and trading for a perennial all-star, a guy that's a top 20 player in the league that now you compare with Jalen Brunson and RJ Barrett. To me, now you're out of purgatory. You're going towards winning. That blows my mind that purgatory is getting to the second round in the playoffs and possibly doing more, while this is the opposite.
Well, I think if you were going to go that route, I think Tom Thibodeau is your perfect coach for that. I think Tom Thibodeau is your perfect. If you're going to go the route of saying, let's just put chips on the table and win as many games as possible, you should trade for Donovan Mitchell. You should condense the lineup, make it an 8-man rotation, maybe fill the roster out with some veterans, and go play 90 games a season. And that's what you should do. But the Knicks were going to be stuck in that spot. But on the opposite side of it, Mike, you have a head coach that's not really a rebuilding head coach. So yes, as it stands right now, until they fully commit to the rebuild, which means every player that they held on the table for Donovan Mitchell must play. Forget about 15 minutes. Forget about 20 minutes. 30 minutes. They need to be starters. They need to finish the game. They need to show the NBA that they can compete with anybody starting 5 or ending 5 on a night-to-night basis. And honestly, these guys, I just want to say one last point. These guys who didn't get any roles, significant roles last year, comparative to actual stars in the NBA, they were on the table for an NBA star at not the greatest value. Kevin Knox, who was a flop, still got you Cam Reddish. Guys on rookie scale deals will be attractive as long as they're on that rookie scale deal.
You think Obi Toppin's going to play minutes, or like, what do you think happens? I mean, legit, they get into the season. Is he playing 8 to 15 minutes a game and Julius Randle's getting the 30?
Obi Toppin will play within the context of a winning basketball game. He will not play within the context of this is the guy on a 3rd-year deal and we need to juice it up and figure it out. And I think they're finessing Obi as well. I think what they're doing is they're taking Randle and they don't want to trade him with 4 years and $117 million on a very negative asset contract. And they're going to try to sandwich his deal to push it to Obi's extension. And then within the next year and a half, they're going to try to get off Randall and then give the keys to Obi. But what Obi doesn't realize is they finessed his value on his rookie deal to the point where it's like, hey, we're giving you a big contract and you didn't really do anything, But if you give Obi 36 minutes, not only is he going to put out stats, he's going to out teammate Julius Randle. I mean, we've watched it for almost, a full year last year. And, the hardest thing in life is to have your magnum opus and to come back. Like Nas made Illmatic and then he made It Was Written. It Was Written is a great album. But whenever Nas made Illmatic, he had to match Illmatic. Julius Randle's Illmatic, I hate to compare Julius Randle to Nas, but Julius Randle's Illmatic was 2020 and he's coming out with Nostradamus. I don't know what he's going to come out with next. He's not really going to make It Was Written. So.
Well, even if Obi sucks, right, and he's a flop and he's not good, don't you want to know as a management, as a team, that someone that put their 8th pick in the draft, don't you at least want to see if they're good? Like I would as a fan if I was watching.
Year 3, Mike.
I mean, I've done this a lot with the Nets. Like if this was year 3 of Ed O'Bannon, I'd be like, okay, he's not good. He was a flop at the 9th pick. Let's deal him out or whatever it might be. Let's get him in a trade. I can't understand that part of it, and that there is the lack of communication between management and coaching seems off. And whatever the reason is for that is why I would be scared of whatever the plan is moving forward until at least you can be in sync together. That would terrify me.
It's the New York Thibodeaus, it's the New York Randalls, it's the New York CAAs. You got to make tough decisions for these 2 colors right here. Blue, orange. That's what you should be concerned about. The team needs to evaluate the player that was on the table for a superstar, not the player that was hung up on the phone from the Los Angeles Lakers, who cannot acquire anybody. They don't have the assets to acquire anybody. So when they had Julius Randle, they said, we're not that interested. So you're going to play the guy that the team that's desperate to get talent doesn't want that talent. But the team that has Donovan Mitchell pried him out for Obi Toppin, who didn't show you anything. He was averaging 9 points and 4 rebounds last year on 12 minutes a game. That's who they're interested in. So again, the internal conflict in the New York Knicks, you can try to get Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. You can try to dream on Devin Booker. The Knicks got to make internal decisions first to clean house, to really stamp that this is a rebuilding team, because it is. It's a rebuilding team, and they need to play the players necessary to build value into the organization.
I was terrified when Kenny Atkinson was a name thrown out there for the Knicks. I saw what he did with the Nets, with the perfect guy to get the most out of young players, the most out of veterans, and was really helped part of the Nets with their rebuild. So I was terrified that the Knicks would scoop him up, because I thought it'd be the perfect fit and would make more sense. Did you want Kenny? Were you in the pro Kenny camp there?
I was concerned about the talent at that time. Like you gotta understand, like for me, that team was the Knicks team. They got RJ Barrett, and that was a hit. That's a 2-way player. You watch the NBA Finals, you watch Andrew Wiggins, and Steph Curry can be Jesus for two games in a series, but he's still a human being. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he needed somebody to come help him. And when you have a 2-way player, you look at the scope of that series. Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. Guys need a guard. Guys need to get rebounds. Guys need to play defense. Guys need to pitch in on offense. That's RJ Barrett. That's a hit. He's not John Morant. He's not Zion Williamson, but he's a hit. So when they got RJ, and I realized that obviously David Fizdale and Mike Miller weren't the coaches of the future, it didn't matter. The point was the next season wasn't necessary. And this season, last season and this season, is not about wins and losses. It's about building value in your talent that you have and getting another draft pick and building again. Look at the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks got John Collins, Trae Young, Kevin Huerter, DeAndre Hunter, Okongwu, the center, year after year after year after year. Cam Reddish. They got picks after pick after pick after pick. Then they can take 3 picks and say, hey, we're willing to get rid of rotational assets to bring in another star. Minnesota Timberwolves, they got Anthony Edwards, Karl Anthony Towns, D'Angelo Russell. Now you can say, hey, yeah, I overspent, but I'm allowed to overspend because I have the talent and I went through a real process. The Knicks have to go through that real process if they want to be able to make a move. Because I know Alex wanted Donovan Mitchell, but there is no trade for Donovan Mitchell where there isn't a sense of buyer's remorse. You can make fun of the Timberwolves all you want. That'll be the best Timberwolves team in franchise history. You can make fun of the Atlanta Hawks all you want. They pushed Eric Spoelstra's ass to fucking figure that out. I'm sorry if I curse, but they pushed.
You can curse. You can
they
say shit or fuck. It's fine.
Yeah, they pushed Eric Spoelstra to figure out that Bogdan Bogdanovic is white man can't jump in real life. Okay, that's why they got DeJounte Murray. So they pushed a perennial contender in the Heat. The Heat could have went to the finals. Don't the Heat aren't no slouch, and the Hawks, they've been there for the last 2 years. You got to draft. You got to build through the draft, and you got to know when it's your time. Was it the Knicks' time with Donovan Mitchell? That's to be determined. But the to be determined is really on Tibbs and Leon Rose pushing Tibbs' hand to say, this is the direction I went in. I didn't put all the chips in. Now you have to take those chips and put them in yourself.
Switching gears, and we can insert Donovan Mitchell opinion from Alex. We'll do like a fake one later. We'll insert it there. I was pro get the deal done. I was kind of more on the Alex side of things. But people have heard that a million times from me. On the scale of dislike the Nets meter, hate the Nets meter, 1 being I don't care, 10 they really piss you off. Where are they? Include the fans too.
Include the fans. I don't know if I think of the Nets fan base as individuals that are not connected. Like I don't really I feel like the Nets have diehard fans, but not they get represented by the wrong people, if that makes sense. Like not when you go to a Net game, it's hard to find a section of Nets fans that really represent Kendall Gill. You know what I mean? That really represent the New Jersey Nets.
Right.
And that's unfortunate. I don't hate the Nets players. I find Kyrie Irving to be a magician with the basketball.
Yeah. I know. I know that. I know you're gonna love that. But I want the other side of it. I want the fan side of it. That was intriguing. That was an interesting quote there. Would you if I said they were a younger franchise building and gaining fans, would you understand that? Like I'll throw it back to you. When did you first start liking the Knicks?
When I was born in 1991. My first memory of watching sports was Charles Woodson on the Michigan Wolverines on Saturday in front of my China closet TV, sitting in the style that I'm sitting right now. And then on Sundays, NBA and NBC would come on, and I didn't have cable. So I watched the Bulls, and I watched Michael Jordan, and I watched Dennis Rodman. I saw myself in Dennis Rodman. He was this crazy guy,
right?
Running on the floor. And then when Jordan retired in '99, that's when I became a Knicks fan. I was 8 years old. I watched the Allen Houston game. I fell in love with the team, and that's where my fandom started. I saw like the legacy end of Patrick Ewing, and then I started to watch like Allen Houston was my favorite player.
So if there was an 11-year-old watching that was like trying to figure out, do I like the Knicks or the Nets? And he saw Kevin Durant in Game 5
I watched
versus
it.
the Bucks.
Always pick the Nets, bro.
Well, if you were a 10-year-old, right? Let's say a 10-year-old now is watching that. Could you maybe understand that the franchise is growing and it's a young fan base?
Yeah, I mean, but the thing is that like it's like anything. It's a popular trend, but can you beat the grandfathered in pain and frustration and talk of the town?
No, you can't. You can't. But if I said to a Mets fan in 1965, will you ever be the Yankees? I think they'd say no. I think now they would still say no. But my point is, in the year 2050, I don't think it'll be looked at the same way it is with Knicks and Nets. I think the Knicks are the bigger franchise. Don't get me wrong. I would be stupid to ever say otherwise and ignorant, and that would be really mismanagement by me.
Mike, the Nets fans need better etiquette at these games, bro. That's all. That's all. The games need. I cannot turn on a playoff game and hear nothing. Like it can't be from Brooklyn, and it can't be from Jay-Z and Biggie songs ad nauseum. They have to be involved in the game, and that's where you get my respect. That's it. That's all. I get sickened by it because it's like it's everything that I would want as a Knicks fan, and then we get clowned for overreacting. But the thing is like for me, like that whole James Harden promo code Harden, like, and the Knicks fans sold out in less than an hour or something for the Hawks series. Like, look, I understand that the popularity isn't the same and the passion isn't the same, but the Nets fans with social media the way it is, they need to operate like different spaces operate. They need to operate and they need to find and identify who their core is, and it can't be that old guy you can't touch because you give him COVID. You gotta get like a real fan base to go to a section or so and really change the culture in there.
I think it's better than you. I don't think it'll ever be the Garden. I don't think it is. So I think you're coming from a Garden perspective, but I think it is minimizing a little bit what the playoff games were like there. And I can tell you, somebody that's been inside that building, it's loud. It gets real loud in there. And I think that is a generalization from Knicks fans. Like you said, you're jealous. You haven't seen it. The Nets are a shit show on their own level, and I won't pretend like they're not. They got a lot of things that need to break right for them. But I would say they have an opportunity to win a championship this season, which I'm grateful for and thankful for, why Durant and Kyrie and hopefully a healthy Ben Simmons are here. So I understand the frustration in knowing that the Knicks don't have that. So I think you're minimizing it a little bit, what it's like. And I get you. The Garden is special. There's memories there. You just talked about it. You reacted to it. But don't deflate what Net fans have because it's not as great at what Knicks fans came from.
It just doesn't. I get it that it's loud, but it doesn't have that. I don't feel like it represents New York to the fullest. And it's Brooklyn, you know what I mean? But Brooklyn is not Brooklyn when it comes to Brooklyn Nets fans all the time. So again, I think there's a lot of potential there. Obviously, Kevin Durant staying and Kyrie Irving staying, it would have been a big problem if they actually left. But now that they're staying, I think that hopefully the marriage stays together for more than this year for them. And again, like I said, Mike, I know we strayed far away from that, but as far as like I just want to get this out of there.
Yeah, go for it. I interrupted you before. That was a poor job by me.
I love sports. I love basketball. I love good products. Obviously, last year was a bit of a shit show for the Nets, right? But
yes,
as far as watching Kevin Durant play basketball, as far as watching Kyrie Irving play basketball, that's a hell of a product. And anybody who tells you it's not is being a hater. Okay, right. Those are two of the greatest basketball players that ever played the game. They're Olympic champions. They're a master at their crafts. They may not be the guy that you want them to be in terms of the team operation. But as far as putting talent on the floor, Kyrie Irving and Kevin Durant, watching that at 7 o'clock every night is a treat. And you should be very thankful, whether you're a Net fan or a basketball fan, to be able to witness that.
And I agree with you completely. And that's the part where, at least going into this season, I think there's hope. There's a chance if Kevin Durant's dealt, or whatever it was, Nets had zero chance of winning a championship. And for me, ultimately, the thing I care about the most is watching my team win the championship, which I know is for you as well. All this other side stuff, and if Barclays Center's loud, or if it doesn't have the grit that the Garden has. Like, for me personally, don't care. I've been a Nets fan since I was a little kid.
Shouldn't.
It doesn't matter. So to see Kevin Durant say, yeah, I'm going to come back, even if he did, like, I'll admit he wanted to get out of there. No shit. But he's still here, for good or bad, for his circumstance, upset, whatever. He's still here. And I think for the Net fans that actually care about winning a championship, that's all that matters.
Now, is there any sense of Kevin Durant kind of basically telling you he wanted out now that he wants back? Is there any sense of like receipts or things that make you no?
I don't give a shit. I mean, I really don't. I don't care at all. This is not, I've said this on the pod, this is not somebody that cheated on me and had an affair and now I'm coming back. This isn't somebody that stole my job. This is the Brooklyn Nets basketball team. And so Kevin Durant didn't want to be here, but now he is because of circumstance. I don't care how we got here. I mean, I care a little bit because it was a shit show and it was stressful. And I care because it could future-wise He could decide to bolt in 3 weeks. Who the hell knows what's going to happen? I mean, they're so problematic with all that stuff. But as far as keeping receipts and booing, I just don't take it personal. I really don't care. I just want to win.
I think it's a it's a
I want to
spot
win a
where
title.
anytime you have KD and Kyrie, you're a contender, and even like, look at Vegas. I mean, they're right there. I feel like plus 800 or something like that, and they're right.
What do you enjoy about at Nick Central on Twitter?
Well, I just like how Alex sticks to his guns, and I was actually talking about it in my English 8th grade English class today. We read an article about how the psychology of pressing like and reading tweet, not tweets, but any post that has likes on it, and how you're more likely to agree with it, how you're more likely to favor a post with likes. And one of the things about Twitter, social media in general, there's information silos. There's ways of feeling, even if you disagree with something, the liberty to express that you have a disagreement is contained, because you don't want to be seen as the outcast. And for better or worse, right? I think Alex totally misses that part of psychology in his brain. Like, he doesn't get enjoyment from being on the in crowd on everything. I think he does when people agree with his stance, but I think it doesn't disrupt his honest view. And it's part of Nick's Twitter. It's like the discernment, the debates, the battles, the civil wars, as we call them. Alex is right in the middle of it, and to his credit, there were very few Knicks content creators that were on the money this summer. Alex was on the money. Of all of them, you could line them all up. Alex was on the money because Alex kept reminding people, yes, the Knicks have the leverage for now. They have the leverage today. There are other teams that can swoop in. You're dealing with a guy that wants to win the deal, and he does not want to win the deal for a favor. He wants to win the deal for his team and for his ego. And Alex, on every occasion, no matter how hot the rumor was, no matter how significant that blue check was next to that reporter's name, Alex kept reminding you that Leon Rose has to push the gas to get this thing done. And Leon Rose never did that. And the Cleveland Cavaliers swooped in. They made the offer. They got the deal done. So I was of the camp of saying, Knicks aren't getting Donovan Mitchell. I didn't believe it. I didn't believe they earned him. I don't believe that the players that they were offering, and how much I know that they believe in a guy like Quentin Grimes, and how much they don't want to just throw Donovan Mitchell and Jalen Brunson with nothing to build. They didn't earn him. And I think that's a tough pill for a lot of Knicks fans to swallow. But Alex is on the money with that one. I think he called it from the gate. And trust me, there's a lot of people on Twitter that will give it to you when it's convenient. But when you're right, they kind of just, I don't know. They don't like, sometimes people don't like to give you your flowers. I was in Menlo Park Mall shopping for Jamaica, and it hit me. I was like, I need a bouquet right now, because I said, I don't need flowers. I need a bouquet, because I was right about Donovan Mitchell. I know Alex was right about that situation as well. So I definitely like Nick Central. I like how their arrogance is not superseded by circumstance of their point, but they really believe in their take, and you should. And also, when you're wrong about a take, it's okay. And also, when you have a take, you can walk back your take. You can change your mind. You don't have to turn into a brand based off your take. You can change your mind.
We've had many battles at Nick Central, and we have fun doing it as a Net Nick podcast. Poppa Left, quarter of the Toxic Boys. Check out their podcast, which will be coming out in October. Great Nick content, battles back and forth. Think people will love it if you like this podcast. Poppa Left, thank you for joining Bad Weather Fans.
Definitely, man. And let's just this is my blessing for the Nick Central podcast, and for you as a Nets fan, and for me as a Knicks fan. During Kevin Durant's reign in Brooklyn, and this rebuild that Tom Thibodeau is manufacturing with Leon Rose. Let's get the Knicks and the Nets in the playoffs, Madison Square Garden, Barclays Center. Let's make it happen. It'll be beautiful for everybody involved. And it's all win for me. It's all lose for you.
Nightmare.
Yeah. If we could get the Knicks and the Nets in meaningful basketball games, I think that would in essence, I think you can agree. I think that would benefit your fan base. Just have that back and forth where it matters.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree. I think it'd be
all
great.
Right, Mike.
I think it'd be great for the city. All right, Poppa Left. Thanks for coming on Bad Weather Fans. Appreciate it, and we'll talk to you later, man.
No doubt, brother. Thank you.
Thank you, Poppa Left, for joining me here on Bad Weather Fans. Alex B will be back as he gets back from his trip to Greece, and we'll connect to talk not only Knicks and Nets, not only Mets and Yankees, but the NFL, the Jets putrid week 1, the Giants, who some people now are saying Super Bowl or bust. Did I hear that right? Bad Weather fans know I'm being sarcastic. But DraftKings, big part of this Bad Weather Fans experience now, which is freaking awesome, as the NFL opening week was action-packed and it's just getting started. Get ready for week 2. Get ready for week 2 of touchdowns, big plays, and even bigger wins with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. This week, new customers can bet just $5 on the football game and get $200 in free bets. That's right. Bet just $5 on any football game and get $200 in free bets instantly. My wife and I had a lot of fun using our own promo code BWF this past weekend as we watched all of the games on Sunday. It's one of the best things to do. Pop it on. You guys know it. It's so much fun. Want more action? Everyone can experience the thrill of DraftKings early win promotion. It's simple. This Sunday, bet on any NFL team to win. If your team leads by 10 at any point during the game, you get paid instantly, even if your team loses. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code BWF to get $200 in free bets instantly when you place a $5 bet on any football game. That's code BWF only at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Minimum age and eligibility restrictions apply. See show notes for details. Bad Weather Fans, episode 135. I cannot wait for the NBA season to start. Believe it or not, training camps gear up in a couple of weeks. And kudos to Bad Weather Fans that has been rolling and steamrolling through this entire summer as we have games that we'll soon be able to talk about. And I am just giddy for season number 3 of basketball on Bad Weather Fans, which is a crazy concept. I guess technically number 4 because we started a little bit with the bubble, but I can't even. No, this is the real season number 3 of Bad Weather Fans, as Alex will be back from Greece, the Bloomfield of Europe. This has been Bad Weather Fans, episode number 135. We'll see y'all next time for 136. Thank you again to Poppa Left. We'll talk to y'all later.